Hey everybody, Eric from Around Tuit RC, and today I'll be giving you a detailed overview of the Team Associated Pro Rally Qualifier Series cars. Now, these are shaft-driven four-wheel drive rally cars that come fully assembled and ready to run. However, you will need 6 AA batteries for the transmitter to get started. Now, these Pro Rally cars are based on Team Associated's popular and proven ProLite 4x4 chassis. And what that means for you is there'll be plenty of parts and upgrades for these cars for years to come. Now, taking a look at the bodies themselves, you can see they come in a couple of different colors. You've got the Rockstar logo and the Pro Rally logo all over it, and it kind of pops at you. You've got the headlights and the grille up front. Really liking the looks of the bodies themselves, and on the back you have a plastic spoiler that was added to the Lexan body, and I think that adds a little bit to the cool factor of the car. And while we're talking about the bodies, I've already drove this one just a few times, and the way the body is set up in the chassis design, 9 times out of 10 when you roll this car over, it's going to roll right back over on its wheels and keep right on going, which is pretty cool. Alright, for the detailed overview, what I'm going to do, take this one, put it to the side, pull this one up front and center, and then we're going to go from front to back and look at everything in this car. So let's go ahead and do that. Before we dive into the car, let's talk about pricing and where you can get it from. Now, the car comes from rcoverstock.com, and the company is run by Kurt and Rob Gornick. You may also know them as Two Brothers Hobby. And if you've watched any RC video reviews or videos on tips and tricks over the last few years, you probably watched one of their videos. Now, I've known Kurt and Rob for several years, met them at many RC events, and when they approached me to do the video review of the car, I couldn't say no. These guys are straight shooters, their company is based in the US, they're going to sell you a quality product and they're going to stand behind it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing the video review. So, the pricing on the car is $299.99, but don't quote me on that. You should go to their website and check it out for yourself to get the latest pricing and availability. And while you're there, be sure to tell Kurt and Rob that Eric sent you, okay? Alright, so let's dive into the car. You have a composite modular chassis right here, looking pretty good, with metric hardware in it. And what that means is you'll be using a hex head type tool to work on your car. And I like those better because they don't tend to wear out as fast as other types and last a little bit longer. Now, on the front of the car, you have a pretty sturdy looking bumper. It's got a piece of very dense foam rubber on the front. I think it will do a lot of shock absorbing there, and we're definitely going to try that when we get to the field. On the back, you have a rear diffuser. It looks very similar to the front bumper, less the dense foam. Don't really think you need it on the back. Alright, for the suspension, you have fluid-filled adjustable shock absorbers, and you can actually move them around on the chassis just a little bit. You can make slight adjustments on them. Now, when I say these shock absorbers are adjustable, you can use plastic clips to adjust the tension on the spring to make it more rigid or less rigid. Now, let me tell you, right out of the box, I think this thing is pretty well set up. But there are people out there that like to tweak, and for those people, you have the extra plastic clips for the springs if you want to make adjustments. You've got some tools in here to work on the car itself, and you got the manual. You know we love reading manuals, right? Okay, got that out of the way. Alright, back to the car itself. Alright, you have steel drive axles in the car, and you have metal gear differentials front and rear that are sealed. So they don't have that plastic stuff, so these should last a little bit longer. And you notice that all your links going out to your tires, your upper links, they are made of metal. So that should help make the car last a little bit longer. If you treat it a little bit rougher, you know, maybe these metal links will hold up longer than plastic. I definitely think that is a plus there. Now, looking at the tires themselves, you see you've got the spoke rims and you've got foam filled tires on there. These look like all-terrain type tires. I don't know how well they would do in sand. I think they would do very well on asphalt or pavement, and we're definitely going to find that out when we take these out to the track. But I'm liking what I see so far. Anyway, now let's go ahead and talk about the electronics that's on board. Now up front, you have a Metal Gear steering servo. Now that's a big plus because a Metal Gear servo will last longer than a standard servo. And you know you're going to be out there on the track running and jumping and giving it a lot of heck. So I like that they have a Metal Gear servo there for the steering. Alright, right next to it you have your receiver box, your waterproof receiver box for your 2.4 gigahertz receiver. Next to it you have your water resistant 90 amp ESC with a cooling fan and fins on it. You have your on off switch right here, and here's your plug on out to your battery. It has the Dean's or T-plug type connector, and you notice the orange label here, right? Well, let's talk about that real quick. The ESC that comes on here is set up for the nickel metal hydride battery that you get with the car. However, you can change it using your transmitter, reprogram the ESC, and use a LiPo battery. And Kurt and Rob were gracious enough to send me one. So we're going to have this truck, which is going to be the black and yellow body. That's going to be all stock, nickel metal hydride. Then the other one with the white body is going to have the LiPo battery. Now you can also pick this up from their website. It's a Thunder Power LiPo battery pack, 2S LiPo battery pack with a 55C discharge rate at 5,000 milliamp hours. Now, I can tell you right now, this is going to outperform that battery. It's lighter. It has a 55C discharge rating, which means it's going to deliver more power to that brushless motor, so you're going to get out there a lot faster. Anyway, in talking about that, the nickel metal hydride battery that you get with the car, it will run just fine on that. There is nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of people out there, the seasoned drivers, probably prefer LiPo just because of the weight and the power is better on it. If this is a beginner truck for you, nickel metal hydride is still great. And the price pointing on the truck being ready to run, I don't see a problem there. However, you do not get a charging system with this truck. So you will have to supply a charger if you don't have one. But like I said, this might be your third, fourth, or fifth truck, and that won't be an issue anyway. Now, in talking about the battery pack that comes standard with this kit, it is a Reedy pack. It's called the Wolf pack. It is a 8.4 volt 7-cell nickel metal hydride battery, 3,000 milliamp hour. It should give you plenty of power and last for a long time. I've actually tested it. I tested the other truck on the nickel metal hydride and the LiPo. I got really long run times out of both batteries. But anyway, moving on, let's talk about the motor real quick. This is a Reedy motor. It's a 550 SL 3500 kV brushless motor, which should give you plenty of punch out of the gate and running around the track with this all-wheel drive car. Alright, a couple of more things to note about the setup here. We'll talk a little bit about the transmitter and then we're pretty much done. Alright, so this is the transmitter you're going to get. It's the Team Associated XP2G. It's a 2.4 gigahertz 2-channel radio system. And if you look at the knobs on here, you got to be a rocket scientist to figure this thing out, I'm telling you. I'm just kidding, guys, really. It's straightforward. I like the way it's set up, the design of it. You have all your standard controls like you would normally be used to on the radio. Your steering and throttle controls and trims, your proportional controls, your normal and reversing switches on there. Everything's laid out nice and easy for the eyes. I like the knob system on it. Nothing's wrong there. You have a shark fin antenna up top. The only thing I need to mention is you do need to supply 6 AA batteries for the transmitter, and then you'll be ready to go. Now, another thing to note, we did touch on that you could reprogram the ESC using the transmitter. You can do a couple of other things with that also, such as braking. The way the car is set up, by default, there is no braking. And what I mean by that is when you let off the throttle and it's in the neutral position, you have no braking. You can actually go in and program it to have a little bit of brake, and that's totally up to you. There's a couple of different settings you can try. This one has the default setting. I have the other truck set up for 5% braking when in neutral position, and we're going to compare those when we're out the track. Now, one more thing to note about the controller itself. You have a slight delay on the reverse. It's not instant on reverse when you hit it like that, okay? And the reasoning behind that is when you're out the track and you're doing those doubles or triples or whatever, you know, you're jumping out in the air, you don't want to tap the reverse and then it immediately goes in reverse, because what will happen is it'll fly end over end. And for the seasoned racers out there, you're probably more experienced with that than I am. This is my first rally car. The braking system is new to me. I played around with it on one car. I've not touched it on this one. So we'll give you a good opinion on it later on. Alright, that about wraps it up. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed the detailed overview of the Team Associated Pro Rally car, and be sure to check out my YouTube channel for the next video where I take both these cars out to the track and give them a good test run for you. Okay? Well, we're at the end of another video here on my YouTube channel. You know what comes next, right? I'm glad you got to see me, and we'll see you later on the tube. And remember, keep on driving.